Today we are going to discuss about the income inequalities and regional imbalances in India. Inequalities in the distribution of income and wealth assets among the people. To assess these details in India, there is no particular one organization for this, but in 1960 under the chairmanship of 𝗵𝗵𝗺, one committee was constituted, and with the help of that committee they assessed the income inequalities in first time. National NCAER, National Council of Applied Economic Research, one organization, it is taken the data of income details. And one more way to calculate the income inequalities is consumption expenditure, monthly per capita consumption expenditure. Monthly per capita consumption expenditure is another one way to calculate. In two ways we can calculate the income inequalities: with the help of income data, available income data, by collecting the income, and by collecting the expenditure of the people, we can assess that. Monthly per capita consumption expenditure. If we observe the data regarding in the table, percentage share of household expenditure by percentile groups of households. Lowest 20% of the people, they are spending only 8.1% of the income, and whereas at the same time highest 20% of the people, they are spending 41.4 rupees. In every 100, 8.1 rupees is the expenditure from lowest 20% and 44.14% of the income spended by the highest 20%. This is the disparities among the people. And if we observe the year by year and after 1990 and 95, 2000, 2005 and 2010, if we observe the data, lowest 20% monthly per capita consumption expenditure is increased from 8.1 to around 9%. Just 1% it is increased only. Whereas highest 20% of the people, they are spending 41.4% to 43%. These details indicates us there is lot of disparities among the people in income and spendings. Causes of income and wealth inequalities in India. Causes of income and wealth inequalities in India. One by one we will discuss about it. Inequality in land ownership. Some people, they are having more land in their hand, and some people, they are having very less land in their hand. If we observe that 67% of the operation holdings comes under the category of marginal holdings. Marginal holdings means less than 1 hectare. If a person is having less than 1 hectare, that land, that person is called marginal farmer. Operational holding, 67% of the total land holding comes under the category of marginal land, marginal farmers, and their operated area is only 22.2%. For example, if there is 100 acres and there are 100 land holdings, in that 100 land holdings, 67% of the land holdings comes under the category of marginal holdings, less than 1 hectare. But they are having operated area in that 100 acres, they are having only 22.2 acres. Whereas if we added small holdings into that section, total goes to 84.9%. 84.9% of the total operated area comes under the category of marginal farmers and small holdings combinedly. Small holdings means less than 2 hectares. These two are constituting of 84.9%, but their operated area is 44%. 85% of the, almost 85, 84.9 means 85. 85% of the operated land holdings, they are having only land of 44.3%, whereas the only 0.7, not even 1%, large holdings, they are having more than 10 acres and above, and their average land is 17.37 hectares. Operated area is 10.9. Total 100 acres, they are having almost 11 acres. Not even they are having 1%. That is the situation prevailing in India regarding land ownership. And the second cause, concentration of assets in the private sector. Top 10% of the top 10% had accounted for 46.28% of the total wealth. Whatever the total wealth we are having, in that top 10% of the people, they are having assets of 46% of the assets. Whereas bottom against 11.67 wealth being possession by the bottom 60%. Bottom 60% people, they are having only 11% or 12. We can say 11.67 means 12. 12% assets are having 60% of the people, and 10% of the people are having 46.2% of the assets. This is the causes for income inequalities. Some people, they are having more assets, some more people, they are having less assets. This is the situation prevailing in India. This was the given by, this information was collected by National Council of Applied Economic Research during the 1975-76. Inequalities in professional training, another one cause. Inequalities in professional training. Professional training means technical qualification, doctors, lawyers and other technical professionals, they are having a chance to increase their income levels. If they are having this professional skills, they can raise their income levels and they can invest in another assets, they can increase their income levels rapidly. Whereas the people, those who are working for the subsistence, they can't increase their income levels. That is the one of the reason for income inequalities in India. Another one, fourth one, inflation and the price rise. Inflation and the price rise is also one of the main reason in income inequalities. Inflation means increasing the price rates. Increased price rates, it is not sufficient. Those who are working as a daily wage labor is earning 100 rupees or 150 rupees or 200 rupees. The all amount has to be spent on the daily goods because of inflation. Whereas those who are working with the help of professional skills, he can earn more money and he can spend less and remaining amount can be saved. So that type of situation leads to income increasing. One way income inequalities are increasing due to reason this. In this way also income inequalities are increasing. And urban bias in private investment. Fifth point, inequality in credit facilities. Inequalities in credit facilities. Business firms, they approach for lending, they approach capital markets and bankings. They can avail the loans at a cheaper rate of interest. But whereas agriculture laborer, agriculture people, a small farmer and marginal farmer, they move for money lender, paying more interest. That leads to povertyness to the agriculture people and richness to the business people. This is also cause income inequalities. The sixth point, the causes for the income inequalities is urban bias in private investment. In India, almost all the 70% of the people, they are residing in the rural areas. But 70% of the investment they are putting in urban areas. This leads to urban development and increasing in the assets in urban side. The development that leads to increasing the value of assets also. In this way they can increase their income levels. The people, those who are living urban rural side, they can't increase their incomes at that phase. So this is also leads to urban bias in private investment. One more thing, urban bias leads to, for example, all investment leads towards the urban. If they are having more investment with them, they prefer highly mechanized projects, and in that projects, share of wages, the labor proportionate labor working in that compared with the machines is very less. So that automatically share of wages in value added in relatively very low. This leads to income inequalities, and this is a main reason. Next, seventh point, the role of the government. Role of the government also sometimes leads to the income inequalities in India. Some areas have been concentrated by the government to develop infrastructure, so that they also prefer and they also spend the huge amounts on the urban side to build infrastructure facilities. That leads to increasing in the assets of rural urban side and leads to income inequalities. These are the main causes for the income inequalities in India. Then government has taken some steps to remedial measures to control the income inequalities. Government has taken some steps. First, after getting independence, land ownership acts was changed. Due to that time, the people, those who are having more land with them, under the act of land reforms and redistribution of agricultural land, is that act was enacted by the government after independence, and with the help of that land reforms, the surplus land is collected from the farmers, those who are having more land, and that collected surplus land should be distributed among the rural poor and landless poor people by putting some ceiling on the persons, those who are having more land. If a person is having 100 acres and government has decided only 18 acres of fertile land or wet land is enough for one family, remaining surplus land should be collected by the government, and collected that land should be distributed among the rural poor people, landless rural poor people. And one more step government has been taken, control over monopolies, and restrictive trade practice. According to the Act, MRTP Act, which was enacted in 1969, MRTP Act means Monopoly Restrictive Trade Practice Act. The person, those who are increasing their income levels, they should take prior permission to enhance, expand their units. So this type of acts has been enacted to control the income levels of rich persons. Whatever the income collected in these tax forms, they are spending to improve the rural poor people. Third one, employment and wage policies. To control the income inequalities among the population, among the people, some employment and wage policies to bring uplift the poor people. First two steps, they bring down the rich people, and now employment and wage policies for the poor people can bring up the income levels of the poor people. For example, crash scheme for rural employment, drought prone area programs, self-employment schemes for engineers, self-employment schemes for educated and unemployed youth, food for work programs. These are the programs which were unemployment and wage policies. These were steps started from 1974 onwards. Earlier, the government has concentrated only on growth. If we achieved the growth rates, then automatically growth fruits can be percolated to the down sections. But that is not happened. So direct attack on the poverty and unemployment problems, they started employment programs and wage policies, in that crash scheme for rural employment and all these programs, and IRDP, Integrated Rural Development Program. This program was started in 78-79 initially. After that, it is extended to the throughout the country. NREP, RLEGP. NREP means National Rural Employment Program, and RLEGP, Rural Landless Employment Guarantee Program. These two programs aimed at providing employment to the rural poor with view to eliminate the poverty in rural. One and only aim of the government is to first eliminate the poverty from the rural area by providing employment. To provide employment, these are the program: Integrated Rural Development Program, National Rural Employment Program, Rural Landless Employment Guarantee Program. These three mainly concentrated to provide the employment, at the same time eliminate the poverty from rural areas. On April 1st, 1989, NREP, that is National Rural Employment Program, and RLEGP, Rural Landless Employment Guarantee Program, is merged into the JRY, Jawahar Rozgar Yojana. This on April 1999, IRDP combined with, restructured with 𝗬𝗏. 𝗬𝗏 means Training for Rural Youth for Self-Employment, 𝗬𝗏, Development of Women and Child in Rural Areas. These two programs merged with IRDP along with Million Well schemes, other some programs also there, combining them and given a new name, that is 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧. 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 means Swarna Jayanti Grama Swarojgar Yojana. Under the name of this, IRDP, 𝗬𝗏, 𝗬𝗏, Million Well schemes and Indira Awas Yojana, all these programs included in this, combinedly one integrated program, that is 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧. On April 1999, JRY again recrested into the central government, introduced and renamed 𝗳𝗍𝗍, Jawahar Gram Samruddhi Yojana. Jawahar Gram Samruddhi Yojana. This is the one program which is started on April 99. Main program MGNREGS. MGNREGS means Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. Under the Act of NREGA, National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, that was acted, and providing at least 100 days for every person, those who are applied for the job in rural areas, under the name of Food for Work program, whatever the asset community building programs, all these programs are included in MGNREGA, and under that they are providing employment opportunities for the rural poor people. Fourth point, under the remedial social security measures. Social security measures. Workmen's Benefit Act, while working in the factory or you get injuries and leads to death, sometimes that family should be disturbed, may be disturbed, but under the Workmen's Benefit Act they can give support to their family. Maternity Benefit Act and Employees Provident Fund Act and Employees State Insurance Act. These are all social security measures taken by the government to provide the security for the people, those who are working in the unorganized sector and organized sector. The fifth remedial measures, minimum needs program. Since sixth plan, government providing minimum needs. We can observe in rural areas and even in towns also, and under the subsidized prices or free through government agencies, public distribution system, with the help of public distribution system, minimum needs supplied to the people, rural poor people along with urban poor people. Minimum needs are supplying, government every month they are providing minimum needs to the people. In this way they are supporting poor people to encourage to uplift their income levels. Programs for the upliftment of rural poor. Three types of programs are there. First program, resource and income development programs. By providing employment opportunities, by providing self-employment opportunities, the government is concentrating development of the income and resources. This program is called resource and income development programs of the rural poor. And second one, special area development program, area wise development. If that area is backward area, special programs will be conducted, hill area development, drought prone area development, like this. Some special area development programs also conducted by the government. Work programs for the creation of supplementary employment opportunities. Whatever the work is done by the, for example, agriculture people, they engaged in agriculture seasons and they don't have any work in summer season. At that time, supplementary employment opportunities should be created by the government. Work programs, by conducting the work programs to the people, needy people, supplementary employment opportunities can be provided. And the seventh one, that is taxation, progressiveness in the taxation. For example, income tax is the best example for the progressive. The person, those who are earning more and more income, the slab rates are increasing. First, up to some extent they are paying 10%. Now it is decreased to 5%, 2.5 lakhs to 5 lakhs. In between that 2.5 lakhs they have to pay 5%. 5 to like that this second slab is 10% and above 10 is 20%. Like that there is 3 slabs, and in this way government is reducing the income levels by collecting some in the form of taxation, progressive taxation. Now we are going to discuss about the rural urban imbalances, differences between the rural and urban. First we are going to discuss about the population details regarding rural percentage and urban percentage. If we observe in the year of 1901, only 11% of the population is in urban areas, whereas 89% of the population belongs to rural. If we observe that in 1951, after getting independence, our urbanization slowly increased. That is, our population increased from 11% to 17%, and rural population decreased from 89% to 83%. If we observe the remaining 50 years, that is 51 to 2011, 60 years. In that 60 years, almost 17% to 31%, not double, but it is increased little bit speeder way than first 50 years. If we observe that 17% to it is increased to 31%, and rural population is decreased from 83 to 69%. This is the rural urban population, and these details indicating that urbanization is increasing slowly throughout this 110 years. If we observe the population, urban population is increased from 11 to 31, only 20% of the population increased. This is the slow urbanization which we observe in India, and nowadays we observe that rural population is migrating to the urban. Reasons for the migration: and rural people in search of employment opportunities, they are migrating from rural to urban. This leads to overpopulation in urban, and that leads to slum areas and some problems regarding pollution, and all this leads to some underdevelopedness. For the sake of employment opportunities, the rural people, they are migrating from rural areas to urban areas. One of the reasons to migrate. And second one, industrial expansion and service sector growth attracts the rural people towards the urbans. Industrial expansion, there are year by year and industries are increasing, and service sector, infrastructure facilities, transport facilities and service sector, banking facilities, insurance facilities and other services, telecommunications, everything is available in urban very lavishly. They can use that available resources, available infrastructure services in urban area. That's why people used to migrate from rural areas to urban areas due to search in the job opportunities. Third one, transport, communication, education, health facilities. These four major, they are playing major role in attracting the rural poor people towards the urban. Transport system and communication system, education facilities and health facilities, everything available for the people. So they are usually migrating towards the urban. If we observe the population wise in India, there is slow urbanization only, but where the transport in migrating from rural area to the urban, reason is this reasons. For peaceful living without disturbing others, when compared with the rural areas, there is no personal sentiments and attachments in urban areas. Without disturbing others, they can for peaceful living also people are migrating. Attraction for the urban life, available facilities, available services which are available in the urban areas, that is also one of the reason to people they are migrating from. Nowadays main reason, education purpose and health facilities, most of the people they are migrating from the rural to urban. This leads to increasing in the population in urban. Rural urban imbalances. If we observe that, the main reasons for the rural urban imbalances, rural areas are not developing that much, urban areas are developing speedily. So, that rural urban divide is there. Clearly we can observe that because of the facilities increased in urban areas, people are migrating, and rural areas they do not have sufficient facilities and they do not have any employment opportunities. The living conditions in the rural areas is tough nowadays, and they will not get any employment opportunities during the unseasons. This type of situations leads to migrating the people from rural to urban. And now we are going to discuss about the rural urban imbalances. Why the rural urban imbalances are increasing? First reason, natural differences. Natural differences, so where the urban cities are increased means historically and natural resources, water and good climate, these are all available. There the towns are established and increased, developed. All this leads to development. This is the one of the reasons to develop the urban areas, natural differences. And next, second one is non-economic factors. In rural areas, we can observe that values, traditions, joint family system and attitudes affect the social and economic mobility of the factors of production. They won't move from their place to another place for the that much easily. They won't move from their place because of the situation is changing. That scenario is changing nowadays. But in olden days, if we observe 20 years back or 30 years back, the people won't go from their village to another village for work. Maybe that is because of traditions, joint family system and so many attachments with that village, and attitude, their attitude. They work for their minimum basic necessities. If they satisfy their basic necessities, they won't work for any other things. They can, that type of attitudes. These are all, these affects the social and economical mobility of the factors of production. That leads to rural people are staying underdevelopedness, and urban people are developing, and this is one of the another reason for rural urban imbalance. Policies of the government, urban bias policies. Again, policies of the government also leads to the urban bias. Government has spending a lot of amount on the rural urban, develop the urban infrastructure, physical infrastructure developed by the government, roads, communications and everything will, hospitals, education systems, and all these facilities are increased in the urban areas. And at the same time, to attract the industries from other countries and encourage our industrial people, government is spending lots of amount on the urban areas. That also leads to the urban development, and rural is underdevelopedness. This is one of the reason, rural urban divide. Other factors, illiteracy, high infant mortality rate, IMR, high infant mortality rate, more anemia in women and children, lack of transport system and communication system. So many people, they are staying in the rural villages only, they won't move from there, they won't improve their living conditions, they won't develop themselves. This is also one of the reason for the downward of rural poor people. One side urban is upward side and rural people are downward side. This brings imbalances between rural urban imbalances, increasing the rural urban imbalance. For this, to control this rural urban imbalances, government is providing some basic necessities under the name of Bharat Nirman. This is the time bound project, which is a stipulated period 2005 to 2009. They provided some basic necessities which are available in the urban areas. That same facility should be available to the rural poor people also. That is the short name of 𝗧. It is not in a program. In a shortcut I write that. Thus, that 6 programs are undertaken under Bharat Nirman. First W means drinking water. Next R means roads, rural roads. And next I means irrigation facilities, to provide the water facilities to the agriculture. T for telecommunications, E for electricity and H for housing. By providing all these facilities under one program, Bharat Nirman, we can provide every facilities which are available in the urban, that same facility should be available to the rural people, undertaken by the government to provide employment opportunities, to uplift the rural poor people's income level, so that they can reduce the divide between urban and rural. 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 Abhiyan, under the 𝗧𝗦 they are providing education facilities in rural areas. NRHM, National Rural Health Mission, National Rural Health Mission, they are providing health facilities. SGSY, Swarna Jayanti Gram Samruddhi Yojana, and self-help groups in rural villages. We observe that self-help groups, by providing some micro credit facilities to the groups, they can improve their living standards. Pradhana Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, PMGSY, it is started in 2000 December. And NSAP, National Social Assistance Program. Under this, there are three types of assistance programs are there: National Old Age Pension Scheme, National Family Benefit Scheme, National Maternity Benefit Scheme. Under this name, they are providing each and every facilities so that they can improve their living standards, and they can, that rural areas become having all facilities, infrastructure facilities, so that they also develop like this. These are the remedial measures taken by the government by providing this program. And now regional imbalances. What is the meaning of regional imbalances? One region is developed, another one region is underdeveloped. This situation is called regional imbalances. In a country, one state may be developed, another state may be backward, that situation. In one state, one district may be developed, another district may be backward. That state is called regional imbalance. The situation of coexistence of relative developed and economically backward states and regions within the states is referred to as regional imbalances or regional disparities. That is the meaning of regional imbalances. One region is fully developed, another one region is backward. This type of situation is called regional imbalances. And now, what are the indicators? How to find out the one place is regionally backward, one place regionally developed? For that, we need some indicators. First indicator, that is per capita income of states. Per capita income state itself indicates the, based on the per capita income, we can say one state is developed, another state is backward, like that. Example for the developed states in India: Haryana, Punjab, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu. They are registering high growth rate like 7%. And UP, Rajasthan, Assam and Odisha, they are having low per capita income. Based on the per capita income, some states are developed. Based on the per capita income, some states are underdeveloped. So that we can finding out the difference between developed states and underdeveloped. This situation is called regional imbalances. And the second one, poverty levels. In some states, there is a high poverty levels, and in some states there are low poverty levels. Because of the natural resources available in that state, income levels are high, so that poverty levels are very low. For example, high poverty levels we observe in UP, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, and low poverty levels we can observe in Punjab, Haryana, Kerala, Himachal Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Andhra Pradesh and Kerala are middle range, neither too we want to find high poverty levels and even low poverty levels, middle range states. These two states are middle range states. Third indicator, human development index. Third indicator, human development index, that is first this human development index is calculated by, measured by UNDP. The same approach we followed. The HDI, our planning commission prepared HDI for states during the period of 2001 and 2008. PC means Planning Commission prepared HDR reports, Human Development Report for states. And according to the HDI reports, that is top 5 states are Kerala, Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Goa and Punjab. And bottom Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. These are bottom according to the HDI report. In HDI already whatever the elements we taken in the UNDP HDI, the same taken in this also. That means literacy rates, life expectancy and per capita income levels. With the help of these 3 indicators we calculate the rank, and with the help of that rank these are the states, some are top 5 and some bottom. Other indicators, not only these 3 indicators but also other indicators we are having to find out the regional imbalances. Industrial development, in some states we observe industrial development is very high, in some states they are very backward. Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, they are having 2/3 of the total industrial output. These 3 states they are constituting 2/3 of the total industrial output value added and fixed capital. In these 2 they are having 2/3%. This indicates the industrial developmentness in this. And some other states which we observe that they are backward states in industrially. Agriculture development, in Punjab, Haryana, some areas in UP, AP, we can observe the agriculture development. In Punjab and Haryana they are having fertile land with sufficient irrigation facilities. That 2 things leads to agriculture development in that states. In some areas of AP, UP also we observe that agriculture, more favorable agriculture conditions, and so that areas are developed in these states also. Urbanization, higher population, in urban high population we observe in Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Karnataka and Punjab. These 5 states they are having high population regarding urbanization. Urban population is more in these states. Lower population in Bihar, we observe in Bihar, Odisha, Assam, Himachal Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. This is the another indicator which is indicating regional imbalances. Consumption of electricity per capita. With the help of this also we can say some states, those who are consuming more electricity they are automatically developed. Those who are consuming less per capita consumption of electricity, they comes under the low developed. We can observe Delhi and Punjab, Tamil Nadu, they are consuming more per capita consumption of electricity, and MP is the low per capita consumption in electricity. Deposit mobilization, the developed states they deposit more in the banks, and less developed states they are having less deposits. With the help of deposits also we can say some regions they are developed. If we observe in the deposits mobilization, Delhi and Maharashtra is very high. Low, if we observe the low category, Bihar and Assam we observe the low deposit mobilizations. And these are the indicators of regional imbalances. These are the, so far we discussed that indicators. With the help of that indicators we can say that this area is developed, this area is not developed, because based on that we can say regional imbalances we can observe in India. There are lot of regional imbalances. Causes for regional imbalances in India. Regional imbalances are hurdles for economic growth and overall development of country. Whatever the country it is, if that country is having some areas are developed, some other developers are not developed, that leads to underdevelopmentness of the country and social movements, unrest movements, and regional imbalances are main hurdles for economic growth and overall development, and it is leads to disturbance in national integration also. This is the why this happened, what are the causes behind this regional imbalances we observe one by one. First regional imbalances, causes for the regional imbalances is British rule. Under the British rule, they concentrated only some areas. For example, Maharashtra and Bengal, and presidential states, we can call presidential states, Bengal and Bombay and Madras are the presidential state under the rule of Britishers. They concentrated on these towns. Because of the concentration by the ruling people, they developed infrastructure in that states. So, from everywhere investment followed to that areas. Developed area attracts the investments in from all over the world and along with the internal also. So, that investment flowed towards the states and automatically that area is developed. Because of the British rule, these three town areas and Maharashtra, Bengal and Madras have been developed. Other some areas totally neglected by the British rule. Because of that, we can observe the regional imbalances in India. Another one reason is geographical condition. Geographical conditions also one of the major cause for regional imbalances. Some hill areas, we can't do anything. For example, northeastern states, we cannot construct the communication system or road in proper way. Because of that hilly situations and it is not favorable climatic conditions for the agriculture, that leads to underdevelopmentness. This is one of the reason for the regional imbalances. Private investments. Private investment, already we discussed this point in private investment is attracted by developmentness. Where the development is happened, the flow of private investment towards that area, and more development leads to again attracted by the investments, and because of that investment it should be increased furthermore. So, it leads to regional imbalances. Next, natural resources. Natural resources also one of the main reasons which are having in regional imbalances. One of the reason, if we are having natural resources, fertile land with irrigation facilities, that leads to automatically that area developed in agriculture. But some other states, some states they are not having natural resources, so because of that they are not having developed. Policy issues and suggestions for reducing regional imbalances. To reduce the imbalances, government has given some policies, issues and suggestions. First one, investment and private capital. Investments and private capitals, encouragement to the investments and private capitals towards the backward areas by giving some incentives and by giving subsidies, and the people, those who are ready to investment in backward areas, they may be encouraged by giving some incentives. Government is encouraging the persons without taxes, they can establish some industries in backward states, backward regions. Concentration of physical infrastructure and health education and training. Concentration of physical infrastructure. Government should concentrate on physical, improve the quality of infrastructure, physical roads and communications and banking, insurance, all these facilities should be, quality of infrastructure should be improved by the government in these areas. So that, and along with this, health education and training, this should be provided the people, those who are in that area, so that they can increase their productive skills, they can improve their living standards, and they can improve their income levels, so that can reduce the regional imbalances. And agriculture development, if there is a chance to provide irrigation facilities by spending huge amounts on that projects, and government have to provide the irrigation facilities and credit facilities to the agriculture farmers, by that agriculture development can be done, and with the help of regional imbalances can be controlled. Technology need to be developed in the backward areas. Technology should be concentrated, research and development institute, department should be established with the help of that research and development wings. The technology should be increased, that increased technology should be used in backward areas, so that we can reduce the regional imbalances. Social sectors allocation and performance should be improved in backward region. Social sectors allocations on social sectors means SC/ST allocations and backward areas, backward people to uplift the backward areas people, and performance should be improved in the backward regions. More allocation should be and concentration should be there to improve their performance, so that they can uplift. Neglected section of the society should be made participation in the process of development. Some people, they are neglected earlier, for example SC/ST and backward areas and tribes, they may be neglected in the development process. That neglected section of the society should be made participate in the process of development, so that then we may bring down the regional imbalances. Government has to be effective and transparent in backward region. In anywhere government should be effective and transparent. More concentrate should be in backward regions. Based on the available resources, cottage household industries should be established and small scale industries should be promoted, so that with the help of small scale and cottage household industries we may bring up the income levels of that region, so that regions may be developed. In this way we can control the imbalances in regional imbalances. So far we discussed the topics that based on the topics some questions, how the questions will be asked. First question, given below, which index makes us to know about the inequalities? Which index? That means Human Development Index indicates the income inequalities. Poverty levels also indicate the income inequalities. Per capita income also indicate the income inequalities. So all of the above is the answer. Given below, which state lag behind because of the lack of proper climate and transport? Given below, which states lag behind? Ante development lo venakabadi because of the lack of these facilities, not proper climate and lack of transport facilities, some states are underdeveloped. Best example for this NES. NES means northeastern states. Northeastern states are hilly areas. We cannot provide a transport facilities, better transport facilities, and there is no favorable climate for agriculture. That leads to underdevelopment. Third question, which is not the cause for regional inequalities? Which is not the cause for regional imbalances? Okay. Wow. Centralized development, British rule, lack of natural resources, self-employment schemes. Which is not the cause for regional imbalances? It is not the cause for regional imbalances. Centralized development is the cause for the regional imbalances. British rule is the cause for the regional imbalances. Lack of natural resources, it is the cause for the regional imbalances. But self-employment schemes are not cause for the regional imbalances. Correction should be done in that. Regional inequalities, not regional inequalities, regional imbalances. Okay, that is the answer. Answer is self-employment schemes. And next question, which are the main reasons for the urbanization? Main reasons for the urbanization. For this question also we discussed the reason for the development of urban areas. First, industrial revolution. It is rapidly developed, industries rapidly developed. For that, increased infrastructure facilities, availability of the more social services in urban areas, all this leads to increasing the urbanization. That is one of the, so fourth option is the right answer, all the above. Next question, given below, which are the negative effects of urbanization? Due to urbanization, what are the negative effects? First one is population problem. Overcrowded urbanization is nowadays we are observing in urban areas. Overpopulation we are observing. increased crime rate in urban places, increased crime rate we are observing, sanitation problems we are observing in the, these are all the negative effects of urbanization. These three are negative effects. So our option is 4, all of the above. Consider the following statements. Lohrenz curve is a graphical representation of relative poverty. Lohrenz curve is used to calculate then Gini coefficient, which is numerical indicator of inequality. Gini coefficient, which is numerical indicator of inequality, and answer is both A and B. To calculate the income inequalities, we use the Lohrenz curve. Lohrenz curve is prepared by Michael O. Lohrenz to explain the regional income inequalities. So that is the reason answer goes to both A and B. In this way, we concluded this regional imbalances, urban rural divide, and income inequalities. These are the 3 topics we covered. To calculate the income inequalities, we use Lohrenz curve.